As I see a few of you already filtering into the chat there, we'll be with you in just a minute. Damn, I know how good this microphone is. I bet y'all can hear. All those bird songs right outside the door. But so let's go ahead and boot up. That's the wrong button. There we go.
There we go.
Sorry, I went to the thumbnail again. Morning.
Morning.
How you doing?
Better than Disney.
Yeah, no shit. And you know, it's not just Disney that seems to be getting their asses kicked right now. Man, I hate to see Disney go this way. I really, really do.
Oh, it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
And so, and you know, it's kind of funny. It seems like, on the face of it, for a lot of people, it seems like what you're looking at is a wholesome family entertainment company that has been completely overtaken by the enemy left. But let's not forget that Walt was a eugenicist.
Oh yeah, no.
So Disney had the cancer to begin with. Now, they have made fantastic films, and I'm gonna miss them. Now, those fantastic films do not include anything revolving around Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know, it was in the tea leaves as soon as Mary Jane walked out onto the newest desert planet to remake A New Hope, and
Mary Jane? You mean Mary Sue?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Wait, Spider-Man? No, that's still owned by Sony. Like, they have to...
And that's a fun story. Have you seen No Way Home yet?
No.
Okay. We'll have to fix that soon because it's excellent.
Yeah? Have you seen the Batman yet?
No.
Well, we'll have to fix that soon. It's excellent.
Yeah, well, I don't go to the theater anymore. It's just inconvenient.
Yeah. Okay.
In fact, since I got that 200-inch screen to put up in the yard with the projector, I don't think I'll ever go to the theater again.
Yeah, so, look, there's a couple of layers to this, all right?
Yeah,
First of all, well, all right. Did you see the thing that I sent? Like, this is the way?
Yes.
I was kind of hoping, like, that could get pulled up. I'm rather proud of myself. I tweeted it, too. You can make it real easy. You don't even have to go into Signal. You could just bring up the Twitters. Okay. First problem, right? Disney seems to not understand... Well, no, bring up the Twitter. Trust me. There's a reason. Do that one. Okay. Disney seems to not understand, or they do seem to understand that, you know, you have to please the fans. Like, and you don't just please the fans. You have to tell competent stories and run competent businesses or whatever. But I remember when Disney bought Star Wars, okay? And I thought that, okay, all right, let's do this, okay?
Yeah,
and there's like there's this whole expanded canon of stuff that they could tap into, from the video games to the books to all of it. Like, basically what Marvel did, they kind of cherry picked some of the most interesting Marvel stories. Yep. And we're like, oh, well, you know, we could adapt that, make some minor changes, and then it'll make a fantastic movie. The whole thing where, like, Han and Leia have kids and one of the kids goes bad and turns to the dark side and blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, I'm a big nerd. That actually happens in the books, right? It's a long-running plot line with Han and Leia's kids and blah, blah, blah. I can tell you, though, Luke Skywalker never turns into a bitch. That's the first thing that never happens. There's no Admiral Holdo, right?
Admiral Gender Studies.
Admiral Gender Studies, and I just got to reference...
And yes, Alex.
That's what I was going to reference. Alex says the customer was always gay. Ha ha! See, that's
or at least that's the objective now. So
anyhow, Disney proved that they were willing to shit on their own fans. Put ideology ahead of everything else. And it was one thing when the ideology was like girl power, rah rah, women are awesome. Now that the ideology includes like members of Disney's like animation staff and their boards, I was injecting queerness everywhere I could get. Wait a minute.
Direct quote.
Yeah, like excuse me. A sphincter says what? Like, no. But Disney's chickens have come home to roost.
So, little background here. As of 1968, Disney has enjoyed a certain exemption. They're part of the Reedy Creek, or rather, they are the Reedy Creek Improvement Zone, Improvement District. And essentially, what that has meant for them is that Walt Disney Company, Walt Disney World in particular, for the purposes of this story, enjoys special tax privileges they control their own police, right? The police at Disneyland, at Disney World, work for Disney. The fire department at Disney World works for Disney. The roads at Disney World are paved by Disney. In fact, if you've ever been to Disney World, you might find that the roads just outside of the Magic Kingdom are trash. And part of that is because Disney, the absolute biggest taxpayer in that community, doesn't pay taxes in that community. They've enjoyed this special tax exemption, and it's not unlike the special tax incentives offered to filmmakers, especially those who translocate from California to Georgia, right? And a lot of the Marvel movies have been made in Georgia. A lot of Disney stuff has been being made in Georgia for the last couple of years.
A ton of Infinity War
was
filmed in Atlanta.
Right
here in Yollywood.
Exactly, and that's because of similar special tax. Well, not nearly as substantial as the Reedy Creek Improvement District, but
it's the same idea.
Same basic idea. You give them a bunch of tax incentives, and if you don't tax them, they will come.
Or you even tax them less, they will come.
Right.
Or believe it or not, you could even tax them same. You could just make their taxes simple and easy to understand.
Yeah.
And they'll still probably come.
Well,
right?
and these kind of tax policies are a large part of what have empowered psychopaths and monsters like Stacey Abrams, John Ossoff, and Raphael Warnock. By creating an interest for the Hollywood elite, the Hollywood, basically the pro-pedophile movement, to come and produce their propaganda engine here in Georgia, we've seen them get invested to where we see millions and millions of dollars being spent by outsiders, by other states, to bolster the election campaigns of people like Warnock, Ossoff, and Abrams. And make no mistake, the significance of that cannot be understated, because for the last 2 years, Kamala Harris has been the Senate, precisely because of that infuriating interference. And before you quip here, think back on just
Senate.
After the election of Donald Trump, how they went on and on and on about foreign interference. Remember going through classes to get your insurance license, and they talked about local companies, foreign companies, and alien companies.
Mm-hmm.
A foreign company is external to not the United States of America, your state.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have people, when you have these Democrats complaining that Donald Trump got anything from outside of the country, remember, Democrats who are massively funded by Saudi Arabia and other hostile foreign interests, and they never managed to prove that there was any actual contribution to the Trump campaign by Russia, but they complained about the foreign interference. If you're in California donating money to a state campaign in any state other than California, you are engaged in the conduct of foreign interference. Right? And so by creating those tax incentives here in Georgia, we drew the interest of the enemy, and it has had massive, painful, and damaging ramifications. So what has happened is they haven't actually passed it yet.
I know, but still.
No, I know.
I know they haven't actually.
Passed it yet. But Florida's Republican-led Senate approved a bill on Wednesday that would eliminate the Walt Disney Company's special tax district that has allowed the company to self-govern its land. This definitely stands to cost Disney millions in taxes, and it's not just Disney that's sucking hind tit right now. The headline is, Disney lost 5% of its stock value yesterday. Yeah, it lost 5% yesterday. It's lost just over 30% over the last year.
Yeah, Netflix are in a race for the bottom.
Yes, Netflix lost almost 30% just yesterday.
Yeah, it turns out when you piss off your primary customer base, that they get a little tired of that, you know? Like it's, I don't know. Maybe don't insult your customers. It's like, you know, picture Burger King saying, "God, you're stupid if you order a Whopper."
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's the same thing here. Look.
And the latest update so the latest update on Netflix is plunging over 35%. Oh, that's 35% of its subscriber base.
So, whoops. Okay.
Damn, son.
Yeah. Dim son. Dim son.
Dim some bad numbers.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. Exactly. All right. Here's the thing, though. What happens is these corporations use the money that they make and all that. Oh, well, thank you. See, that's this is the way.
I got you.
What happens is they use the money that they make, the jobs and the revenue that they bring to your state and all that. It's happened here in Georgia, like when Georgia tried to pass a "Don't Murder Babies" law, or just an abortion restriction law, which limited the time frame in which you could get an abortion. It didn't even make abortion illegal. It just limited the time frame you could get an abortion. All of these Hollywood types tried to, use their leverage against our state government, and it just, it was painful to go through. And it was like, look, who cares? You knew when you started filming movies in Georgia what kind of a place Georgia was, okay? So the fact that Georgia would pass a law restricting abortions should not have surprised you, okay? And they used their wealth and their influence against us to take what is still basically a red state and force it to trend more purple, even blue. Ditto with Disney, okay? And this could potentially cost the Orlando area a lot of money. This could potentially cost the state of Florida a lot of money. It'll be a pain in the ass for Disney as well. Don't misunderstand, okay? But it could potentially cost Florida money. So So a company like Disney uses its influence and its leverage. So, well, we're going to do these terrible things because if you don't let us get away with it, it's going to hurt you guys, right? We'll take our ball and go home. We'll go somewhere else. And so they're able to wield an undue amount of influence and change policy in their area that otherwise wouldn't fly. Like if you put like what is referred to as the "Don't Say Gay" bill, which is bullshit, but it's referred to as the "Don't Say Gay" bill. If you were to put that on the ballot in Florida, Floridians would pass the measure. Okay, this is legislation, and most states would pass the measure, especially once you realize it's like, oh, you mean all the bill really does is say you have to wait till after third grade before you can engage in sex education? Yeah, it seems reasonable. And it's the same thing here. So the fact that Florida is willing to endure some pain and risk problems, risk going through some unpopular periods, man, this is the way.
Well, and
you stop giving the enemy leverage over you. Oh, okay, it's going to hurt when we rip the Band-Aid off. Okay, still ripping off the Band-Aid.
Like, as soon as they came out of the meeting where they agreed to approve the bill to begin the voting process, like within like 10 or 15 minutes of them walking out of there, the Florida Speaker of the House was on with Michael Knowles talking about the bill. And Knowles asked him, you understand there's a risk here. He said, absolutely. But it's absolutely necessary that we stand up to and fight back against these woke corporations and say, listen, we're tired of your pro baby murder, your pro infanticide, your pro child genital mutilation agendas. We're not going to put up with it. You are not welcome and free here in Florida to,
no matter how much revenue you generate for our state, to
pursue your pedophilia or your genital mutilation of children. It's not okay.
You don't get to hold the almighty dollar against us forever. Could you bring up Tim Pool's tweet thread on this? Because I noticed something really interesting as I was kind of trolling the internet about this. Yeah, there you go.
This one?
Yeah, that one. All right, then look at the replies. Okay, if we can bring this up. I'm just gonna run down a couple of them, okay? LOL, Florida's going to wind up losing countless jobs and billions in tax revenue after they wind up paying millions to Disney's lawyers for the super obvious unconstitutional viewpoint discrimination. Yeah, you're retarded. So Disney gets its $1 billion in debt forgiven, and Florida residents in the surrounding areas get a $2,200 tax hike to cover it, and they piss off one of the most powerful businesses in the state. That's a winning strategy. No notes or changes. Keep it up. And then, doesn't this mean Florida taxpayers front the tax costs from Disney now? This will have a negative impact to the Florida resident. Okay.
Okay. No. Okay.
Well, hold on. Okay. Here's what's funny. They seem to kind of understand that if you get out of the way of corporations, right, and don't hit them with a bunch of burdensome regulations, it's almost like the wealth and prosperity that businesses generate kind of trickles down and out to the surrounding community.
Yeah, that's a big part of the math here. Is Disney has been able to become what it has become precisely because it made these special deals in the late 60s, mid 60s. And has been able to operate essentially in the way that we hope and expect for a free market business to operate. And so from one perspective, this is how I want to see all businesses treated, right? Leave them alone and let them do their business. But what
sort
Disney's
like
doing
Domino's patching the potholes
right,
in that one town.
Exactly.
Yes.
But what Disney's doing right now is not a business in the free market engaging in its free market activities. What Disney's doing right now is tantamount to fraud. Same thing is true with what's going on over at Twitter, right? Elon Musk offered to buy Twitter at a little more than 50% above its market valuation, and the board rejected the offer. They rejected the offer on the basis of politics. When the board rejects an offer that earns the shareholders a tidy profit, a significant profit, without making a viable counterclaim that there is a higher profit to be pursued in an alternative mechanism, what the board has done is violated its legal fiduciary obligation to serve the interest of the shareholder. So I don't have to speculate or opine on this. I can point to Disney has made all these moves, all these political moves, firing Gina Carano, right? Introducing LGBT characters everywhere they can, per the voice and statement of their own C-suite, right? Their not so secret agenda to queer the children, and the result has been a loss in market valuation. Now, it could be argued that what they've done there is failed. They've committed errors and failed their shareholders, but it's much more likely the case and on a much easier case to make based on their own statements about, oh, well, I just started injecting queerness wherever I could. That what they've done is they've deliberately chosen to put the politics above the profit margin. And so what these managers have done is defrauded their shareholders. That's a crime.
CNN.
And, right? And, like we've mentioned several times before, we have both worked in the insurance business and held insurance licenses, which included dealing with life insurance, which means some measure of interaction with stock market valuations and an actual legal fiduciary obligation under which I could have gone to jail for selling somebody a bad life insurance policy. Now, you'd have to go pretty bad to actually get busted out like that, but
it's possible.
But that's part of the math there. So what these Wokey Corps are doing is crime. Without even having to make arguments about how you shouldn't mutilate my children and attempt to murder them, I can just point to the simple numbers and say, if your woke agenda, if your political agenda in your marketing and production is causing you to lose more than a quarter of your market valuation over the period of a year, you're failing your shareholders. You're committing a crime.
So, Alex from TPS Report says the representative sponsoring the legislation claims it won't affect residents in the district, but I don't know how that's possible.
I don't know how it's possible for it to have a significant negative effect on the residents of the district, because the fact of the matter is the result will be that more tax money flows out of Disney and into the district.
Okay. Well, the reason why I quoted it was because... anyhow, the reason why I quoted it is because even if it does have a negative impact on the district, again, this is one of those things where I think if you were to ask the average Floridian, okay, are you sick of Disney shit? Are you willing to endure a little pain so that we can send a message to Disney that says, I'm sick of your shit? Because here's what's not going to happen, okay? Disney's not going to leave Florida. Right? Like, they basically built Orlando. That was a swamp.
Yeah.
Right? Before Disney showed up. And it's not like they could just pick up the city and leave. Right? So the Chinese finger trap of it goes both ways, okay? Does this have the potential to hurt Florida and hurt the Orlando area? Yes. But long term, there's also the pain
possible, but not likely.
I don't know. I mean, I think if you introduce a big shock in the tax structure to any state, there's the at least short term potential for it to hurt the residents of the state. I think you could just, if I were to hand you a blanket proposal that says I'm going to shock the taxes in your area, I think you would assume that there's a potential, at least, for it to negatively affect you, especially in the short term. So, I mean, the same thing here. Like,
well, and Alex makes a good point. Disney will use the tax law to continue to not pay taxes, which you're right, Alex. There is that, and that's just one more great argument for abolishing the IRS and going to a flat tax. I mean, if I had my way, there would be no more tax.
Fair tax. That would be fair tax better than flat tax.
Yes.
But Dave says everyone I know down here is willing to endure a rash to stop the Disney indoctrination camp. And that's kind of my point. So, like the rep that's saying, well, it's not really going to negatively affect us. But don't do that. Don't do that. Do not destroy the credibility that you have, because that is what you have, is credibility. Like, you reach a certain point where, like, your family-friendly company that's injecting queerness everywhere they can, like, that is bought up Marvel, that has bought up Fox Studios, that has bought up Star Wars. Like, they paid like some $4 billion for Star Wars just to shit all over it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this company that takes all of these things that spark the imagination, things that you loved as a kid, things that I loved as a kid, and they ram it down your throat and they say you will like it even if you have to gag on it. Take your medicine. Take it. Yeah, at some point, like, okay, no, we'll just endure the pain. Don't say that there's no negative consequences from this, because many people, as Dave pointed out, that everyone I know down here is willing to endure arrest to stop the Disney indoctrination camp. Yeah, instead say no, this is going to cause pain. It's one of those things. It's going to hurt. So deal with it. It's like setting a broken bone, right? That hurts. But
yeah, I mean, this is Disney. Right? This is Disney.
When you're under my employ, now look at it! Gaze upon my empire of joy!
I mean, that's from a video that's 7 years old, and 45.4 million views. Somebody's doing something right. Good job, ERB. And that's a bunch of wokies making fun of, because boy are they make good content, but Disney bought up everything. And then, okay, and I got to get out the door, but before we go,
but now they have to hold the bag, though. That's the thing. They bought up
right.
everything. Congratulations. Now manage it properly.
Well, and the other thing on the tax thing, you see these lefties here. Oh, Florida's going to wind up losing countless jobs, billions of tax revenue. So Disney gets its $1 billion in debt forgiven, and Florida residents in the surrounding areas get a $2,200 tax hike to cover it. Maybe, but let me just these guys understand
it's like all of a sudden
taxes and government revenue the way AOC does. AOC ran Amazon out of New York and said, "Look, I just saved you, what was it, $10 million? Or no, it was more, it was a shitload of money." But she's explaining, "Look, I just saved the taxpayers all this money because we were just going to give Amazon these millions and millions of dollars." No, dumbass. What happened is somebody came into your restaurant with a coupon for $5 off a $15 pizza, and you sent them away and went and bragged to your boss that you saved him $5. You didn't save him $5. You cost him 10. Dumbass. New York didn't offer to spend millions and millions of taxpayer dollars on Amazon. They offered to let Amazon not pay millions of dollars that they would have otherwise been obligated to pay as a tax incentive to entice them to move to New York, bringing billions in revenue and new jobs. So you sent the guy out the door with the coupon and didn't make a sale. Dumbass.
So actually, to a certain extent, though, without realizing it, they are admitting that they understand how taxes and economic activity work with all this. Oh my God! If Disney has all these things happen to it, what's going to happen to Florida and the city of Orlando? So hold up. There's one of the guys in the tweet thread even says it's about time Disney loses their special benefits. I'm so shocked that people are upset about that. What happened to everyone screaming tax the large corporations? Hypocrisy, anyone?
Right.
Yeah, so they do get it. And then Alex from Polytech, or the TPS report, like, brother, I might call you Polytech for life, but anyhow. And Alex says, now they're going to create a board of commissioners or district council. Disney will handpick the members, and local residents will get shafted. Honestly, this doesn't go far enough without resident protection. I do think there's a fair point in that, okay? And it could be that this is just symbolic. It could be that this is just the shot across Disney's bow, letting them know, so listen, fuckers, we're watching you, okay? And we're sick of your shit. This is your warning. You don't get a second one. Okay. I suspect long term, especially since Disney's already willing to lose money. Like when Disney could have just printed money with Star Wars, right? The Force Awakens proved that. And then they decided to just, again, shit all over us.
Right.
Right? So now, yes, maybe this doesn't go far enough, but I still think it's a step in the right direction. This is the way. This is the example, again, Florida, of all places, like leading the way, making the point. Like, okay, fine, you bring millions and millions of dollars in revenue to our state, and we really enjoy that. But we refuse to allow you to hold us hostage to that. That's like, honestly, that's an abusive relationship. You're like, oh, I'm a supermodel, and I'm going to screw your brains out, but I'm going to treat you like shit when nobody's looking, and you're just going to put up with it, because otherwise, you don't get to date a supermodel anymore.
So Disney is Jada Pinkett Smith?
No, Disney's Amber Heard.
Amber Heard.
There we go.
You go.
Let's tie it all around. So, takes shots across. Oh, SIVER. Oh. That's top comment, though. Can you hit the button?
Yep. You get it. You get it, Dave. There it is. Merry Christmas on that one. And, yeah, I got to be in Lithonia, like, already. So, be safe out there, guys. We love you, and we'll see you tomorrow.